CapeCast.
Beth Chapman knows the back roads of Truro and Wellfleet like the back of her hand. She's also a historian of one of the Cape's most famous painters, Edward Hopper, who produced many watercolors and oil paintings of the area in the 1930s. Chapman is currently offering behind-the-scenes guided tours of the places and vistas that inspired Hopper's paintings, and CapeCast was lucky enough to catch up with her on one of her then and now tours.
He painted at least 30 structures in South Truro between the town line, South Truro, and Pamet Harbor, and if you include Ballston Beach. This is the whole farm taken from the corner of Ryder Beach Road in Old County. There weren't many things in the landscape to paint, frankly. This house was probably more. He painted this house, my family's farm. He painted it 4 times, the farm itself or buildings of the farm, and then he used elements from these houses in 2 other paintings. But he was painting everything he could see from the hill across the street, which is now on our east. So I think he loved the fact that it had so many angles. He loved houses with angles. He liked odd things like the barn. And he, I believe, was somewhat of a lazy painter. He didn't take that easel too many places when he could just keep painting from the same area. So we're on the hill where he got some of the ideas for the vistas that he wanted to paint. And also he got ideas what the far rolling hills looked like. And you can't see them now because of the trees, but it really was this bare. And so he had a lot of beautiful things to paint. He painted the house with the red flag twice in oil, and it's really very beautiful. It's a very private property, and you can see it from the end of Ryder Beach Road looking east. What's behind us is the wonderful old building that Hopper painted that is called House with Rain Barrel. And it is one of his iconic images that people look at all the time and say, oh, that's a beautiful old house in South Truro. But what's really interesting about it is that he also painted the house from a higher elevation, showing the railroad track with the trestle that every child in South Truro jumped off of at high tide. The boys were brave. They didn't jump off until the train was right on us. The girls jumped earlier. But this is right here, as you'll see, there's a little curve in the shoreline, and he painted from the house with rain barrel looking up here. We're standing where the Truro Depot, Railroad Depot was. They had a siding as well. So this parking lot was the Truro Railroad Depot and the Truro siding. And he painted this dory on this curve right here. It took me a long time to find it. What Edward Hopper found interesting to paint, I call home. It feels home to me. And so when I see his paintings, it feels like home to me.